Hey everyone! Are you ready to take your English listening skills to the next level? In today's video, we've put together a fantastic listening practice session designed to help you understand native speakers more easily. Let's get started. Today, I want to talk about a subject that we encounter almost every single day, yet one that we rarely sit down to deeply reflect upon in our personal lives: environmental pollution. It is easy to view environmental degradation as an abstract concept or a distant political debate, something managed by international treaties, climate summits, and government ministries. But the reality is far more immediate, personal, and urgent. Environmental pollution is not happening in a distant vacuum. It touches every single breath of air we draw into our lungs, every glass of water we drink to quench our thirst, and the very soil that produces the food on our family dinner tables. Have you ever stepped outside early in the morning in a bustling city, looked up toward the sky hoping to greet the morning sun, only to realize that the thick, milky haze hanging over the skyline is not peaceful morning fog, but a heavy blanket of smog and dust? Or have you ever taken a stroll along what was promised to be a pristine, picturesque coastline, only to find yourself stepping over discarded foam containers, broken glass, and plastic packaging washed ashore by the tide? We are currently living in an unprecedented era of human history, an age defined by convenience, rapid technology, and modern comfort. With just a few taps on a smartphone screen, a hot meal is delivered to our doorstep within minutes, packaged in multiple layers of single-use containers, accompanied by plastic cutlery, straws, and carrying bags. We upgrade our electronic devices constantly, purchase mass-produced garments that we wear only a handful of times before discarding, and rely on motor vehicles to transport us even short distances. But as we enjoy these modern luxuries, we seldom pause to ask ourselves a fundamental question: what is the true, hidden cost of this fleeting convenience, and who is ultimately paying the price? To truly comprehend the magnitude of what we are facing, we must first look at the global scale of this crisis. Planet Earth, our solitary home in the vast expanse of the cosmos, is currently experiencing a profound environmental burden. At the absolute center of this issue is our global addiction to synthetic materials and disposable items. Every single day, humanity generates an overwhelming mountain of waste. Much of this waste consists of single-use items manufactured within seconds, used for mere minutes, and then discarded to linger in our natural ecosystems for generations. Because these materials do not break down naturally in the way organic matter does, they persist in the environment indefinitely, slowly fragmenting and scattering across land and sea. Out in the middle of the ocean, vast swirling currents accumulate enormous areas of floating debris, forming oceanic wastelands of trash that block sunlight from reaching aquatic plants below and effectively transforming once vibrant marine sanctuaries into quiet, lifeless zones. Yet, garbage is only one facet of the global pollution crisis. Our freshwater systems, the very arteries of life on land, are suffering from widespread contamination. Across various continents, major rivers that have sustained civilizations for millennia are now treated as open sewers. Sacred rivers and vital waterways receive enormous volumes of industrial runoff, chemical waste from factories, and untreated sewage every single day. In many parts of the world, vulnerable communities still lack access to clean drinking water, forced instead to rely on murky streams and contaminated wells. Simultaneously, the very air that envelopes our planet has become a silent hazard. In sprawling urban corridors and industrial centers, emissions from power plants, factories, construction sites, and millions of commuting vehicles release a continuous stream of dark smoke and chemical vapors into the atmosphere. We are quite literally transforming our shared global air into a dumping ground for the airborne byproducts of our industrial appetite. Now, let us bring our focus closer to home and examine the reality within. Vietnam. Over the past few decades, Vietnam has undergone a remarkable transformation. Through economic growth, industrialization, and modernization, the nation has improved the quality of life for millions of people, built modern infrastructure, and established itself as a vibrant center of activity. However, this rapid pace of growth has come at a noticeable environmental cost, creating a visible tension between economic development and nature. Today, one can see the signs of pollution almost everywhere in daily life. Across both cities and rural provinces, local communities generate immense volumes of household waste every day. Disposable items have become deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of daily commerce. A quick trip to a local street market illustrates this reality. Purchasing a few simple ingredients often results in several separate plastic bags. Ordering a single beverage involves a disposable cup, a lid, a straw, and a carrying handle. Once discarded, this vast amount of waste easily overwhelms local cleanup systems. Landfills outside major cities grow into massive, foul-smelling hills of garbage that operate near full capacity, creating unpleasant odors for nearby neighborhoods and threatening the quality of surrounding soil and groundwater. Water pollution in Vietnam is equally evident, manifesting in both urban landscapes and rural provinces. In our major cities, historical waterways that once added charm, freshness, and character to the urban environment have turned into dark, stagnant canals. Rivers and channels in places like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City have long suffered from heavy contamination, exuding strong, unpleasant odors that force local residents living along their banks to keep their doors and windows permanently shut. This degradation occurs because vast volumes of untreated wastewater from households, restaurants, small workshops, and local businesses flow straight into municipal drainage networks. In rural areas, the heavy use of synthetic fertilizers and chemical sprays in farming has gradually worn out the natural vitality of the soil and washed into surrounding canals. These chemical residues migrate into shallow wells and underground water sources, the primary source of water for cooking and washing for many rural families. Furthermore, numerous traditional craft villages specializing in activities like metal processing, cloth dyeing, papermaking, and leather tanning frequently operate without adequate treatment facilities, releasing untreated liquid waste straight into nearby streams and rice fields. In addition to land and water issues, air pollution has emerged as one of the most noticeable daily challenges in modern Vietnam. In recent years, public awareness regarding air quality has grown significantly, as people notice the changing sky. Residents in big cities have grown accustomed to waking up to hazy morning horizons and heavy air. During certain seasons, particularly when weather conditions trap air close to the ground, the haze becomes so dense that distant buildings fade from view. The primary cause behind this cloudy atmosphere is the relentless stream of exhaust from millions of motorbikes and cars clogging street intersections every morning and evening, combined with dust from ongoing construction, emissions from nearby factories, and the seasonal burning of agricultural fields in surrounding rural areas. Because this dust is so fine and pervasive, it settles on every surface, enters our homes through open windows, and creates a persistent, heavy atmosphere over our daily routines. The consequences of this widespread environmental burden are heartbreaking and far-reaching. Nature cannot absorb endless amounts of waste without showing signs of strain. Eventually, the delicate natural balance that supports life begins to break down. From an environmental standpoint, polluted land loses its natural fertility, making it harder to grow healthy crops over time. The loss of forests and green spaces removes the natural cooling systems of our environment, contributing to broader climate disruptions. In coastal regions and river deltas, changing weather patterns, unpredictable storms, and eroding shorelines are making life increasingly difficult for farming and fishing communities, threatening traditional ways of life that have existed for generations. For the animal kingdom, environmental pollution represents an undeserved tragedy. Wildlife species, lacking the ability to understand or avoid human-made waste, suffer quietly. In marine environments, sea turtles frequently mistake floating, transparent plastic bags for jellyfish, their natural food. After eating the plastic, it becomes trapped inside their stomachs, giving them a false feeling of fullness that leads to slow weakness and death. Seabirds skim the water surface looking for food, unwittingly scooping up floating bottle caps and plastic bits, which they then carry back to feed their vulnerable chicks. Larger ocean creatures, such as whales, periodically wash ashore with heavy loads of plastic trash, industrial ropes, and synthetic packaging tangled inside them. On land, industrial expansion and polluted rivers destroy natural habitats, driving wildlife further away and reducing the rich diversity of life that makes our world so beautiful. When one part of nature suffers, it creates a ripple effect that touches everything else. Perhaps the most important truth we must realize is that human beings are not separate from the environment, we are deeply connected to it. When we damage the air, the water, and the land, we are ultimately harming ourselves. Consider how waste moves through nature. When plastic trash floats in rivers and oceans, wave action and sunlight slowly break it down into tiny, invisible particles. Small fish and sea creatures swallow these tiny particles. Larger fish eat the smaller fish, absorbing those synthetic materials into their bodies. Eventually, those fish are caught and served at our dinner tables. The circle comes full close. We end up consuming the very waste that we carelessly threw away. Medical researchers are now finding traces of synthetic microparticles inside human bodies, carrying additives that can disrupt our natural balance and health. Furthermore, living with constant air pollution and dust takes a heavy toll on human well-being. Breathing murky air day after day leads to persistent coughs, sore throats, allergies, respiratory issues, and long-term fatigue. In areas situated near heavily polluted industrial zones or contaminated water sources, higher rates of chronic illness serve as a somber reminder of what happens when human health is sacrificed for quick economic convenience. Facing environmental challenges of this scale can easily make us feel overwhelmed, helpless, or indifferent. The problem seems so massive, so deep, and so embedded in modern life that individual actions might feel completely meaningless. However, giving up or feeling hopeless will not fix anything. We still have the time, the awareness, and the ability to turn things around, provided we build a collective commitment across all parts of society. Protecting our environment requires a combined approach, thoughtful policy changes from leaders alongside small, meaningful habit shifts from individuals. On a broader scale, governments, industries, and local authorities must take the lead in creating structural change. Environmental protection laws need to be enforced firmly, ensuring that factories and commercial operations manage their waste responsibly rather than dumping it into shared rivers and public spaces. Economic systems should move away from the old habit of taking resources, making disposable goods, and throwing them out, moving instead toward a system where products are designed to last, to be repaired, and to be reused. Governments must also invest more in clean energy sources like solar and wind power, expand public transit options like electric buses and trains to reduce traffic exhaust, and build modern waste management facilities that can safely handle household trash without contaminating. Surrounding land. While big policy changes are essential, they must be supported by everyday actions from ordinary people. We should never underestimate the power of conscious individual choices. Every decision we make about what to buy, how to travel, and how to manage our homes plays a part in shaping the world around us. We can start by bringing mindfulness into our daily routines through simple habits. The first step is learning to refuse unnecessary single-use items, such as extra plastic bags at the market or disposable straws at coffee shops. The second step is reducing overall waste by buying only what we truly need and avoiding excessive packaging. The third step is reusing what we already own, such as carrying a personal water bottle, bringing cloth bags when shopping, and choosing durable containers. The fourth step is finding new uses for old items instead of throwing them into the trash bin. Finally, we can practice proper waste separation at home so that recyclable materials can be processed efficiently instead of ending up in local landfills. Additionally, small lifestyle changes add up to a big difference over time. Choosing to walk, ride a bicycle, or take public transportation when possible cuts down on vehicle exhaust and keeps the air a little cleaner for everyone. Conserving energy at home by switching off lights when leaving a room, using air conditioning mindfully, and avoiding water waste reduces the overall strain on our natural resources. Beyond our personal routines, we can use our voices to spread awareness. Talk gently with your family, your children, your friends, and your neighbors about why caring for nature matters. Participate in local park cleanups, support local businesses that practice eco-friendly habits, and encourage your local community to keep shared streets and waterways clean. As we bring this reflection to a close, let us keep in mind an old, meaningful saying: we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. The condition of our world today reflects the choices made by those who came before us, and the state of the world tomorrow depends entirely on the choices we make today. We cannot wait for someone else to solve these problems for us. Caring for the environment is not a distant luxury or a specialized hobby, it is a shared human responsibility that connects every single one of us. By choosing to live a little more mindfully, by consuming a little less, and by treating the natural world with the care and kindness it deserves, we can help heal our surroundings. Together, we can ensure that future generations inherit a planet that is clean, vibrant, healthy, and full of life. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this reflection today. If these words brought a meaningful thought to your mind, consider sharing this message with someone close to you, and take one simple, mindful step for our environment today. Take care of yourselves, and take care of the world around you.